It's titled Confluence of the Old and the New. It's essentially a community engagement program. We're trying to explore the culture of my people. I'm from the Yoruba tribe. We make up the dominant tribe in the southwestern part of Nigeria, about the second largest ethnic group in that country. But we are not limited to the southwestern part of Nigeria alone. Thanks to the slave trade, we have Yoruba-speaking populations in Brazil, in Cuba, in some other Caribbean countries, and then we also have some other groups in other West African countries. So we want to look at newborn screening. Newborn screening is a program that started in the 60s with the first discovery that by Robert Gurry, with the sense that it's possible to determine, looking at newborns, some certain diseases that will manifest down the line. So it's essentially a screening program conducted in otherwise healthy-looking babies. Currently, there are about 60 non-screening tests available. And in many places in North America, across Europe, there are legislations to ensure that before newborn babies leave the hospital, they get screened. There are about 34 core conditions and 26 secondary conditions, but for the diseases we're interested in, hearing disorders, which is what I'm really interested in, hemoglobinopathies and some other metabolic syndromes, they fall within the core condition. Now, in the 60s when this program started, that was around the same period that my country got independence, and between then and now, other people have moved ahead. The story is not so straightforward in Nigeria. So, and that is despite the obvious advantage of newborn screening. The question is, which is what we want to explore, is why is that so? The advantage is pretty obvious. Take, for example, sickle cell disease that is pretty common in Nigeria and some other West African countries. We don't have any data when it comes to newborn screening. But the entire population that are prone to sickle cell in both the United States and the UK are much less. And in those countries, before a child leaves the hospital, it gets screened. So why is that so? There could be various arguments to look at it. We could talk about the fact that there's lack of political will. We could talk about the fact that there's financial handicap at different levels of governance. But our thinking is that there are also some other sublime factors that are contributing directly or indirectly to the lack of the will, the lack of the political support, the lack of finances in that. We think culture plays a role in that area. That is the way of life, and it impacts the health-seeking behavior of the people. And we also aware of the fact that many African cultures are infused with taboos which are contrary to mainstream biomedical science. So the justification of what we plan to do is based on the fact that if we can successfully challenge the myths, if we can provide a fresh perspective, we may be able to stimulate a new approach towards the demand and acceptance of screening tests. It's one thing to have the screening test available. It is a different ballgame for the people to want to have it. We want to provide the community with an alternative to the beliefs they've had previously, and we hope that that may soften their standards against newborn screening. We also think that that will may be able to give them or provide an avenue for a sustained challenge to the existing myths. So the goals are, we want to explore the social and cultural constructions against screening for newborn diseases in that group, and look at the response to scientific principles within the cultural setting. And we also want to see what role short plays could go in getting this done. So I base my strategy on my experience dealing with medical students. I teach preclinical medical students anatomy, head and neck anatomy. Then I get to teach the students again ENT clinical diseases when they cross over to the teaching hospital. So for a specific set of students, the interval is really like maybe like 2.5 to 3 years. So when they come to my clinic, the first set of questions I ask them is based on what I taught them about 2.5 years ago. Most often they're forgotten. Then I ask how many people have seen the movie Titanic. I see a lot of responses. Then I randomly pick a scene in the movie and I ask them questions about it, and they give me near accurate answers. So anecdotal evidence, but I've done that over a number of sets of medical students, and I realized that the movie is sort of stick. They will have to read the anatomy and pass to move ahead, quite all right. but nobody's going to set exams on them on the movie. So I guess that might be, for then, while I was trying to write up the proposal, I felt that might be a good way to try to explore what we want to do and try to capture what we have in mind in form of drama. So what we're going to be doing in the next few weeks, we're going to be embedding observers within the community. We are targeting the historical home of the Yorubas in Ife. We're targeting the old political capital in Oyo Town. Then we have these people still within the community for a while. Then, based upon the observations, we come up with a guide, have a FGD, have high with the stakeholders. And then these transcripts of these qualitative interviews we're then going to use to then develop scripts of plays, short plays, and also audio drama. We get some professional artists to help us do that. And then we then plan to then go around different communities. The Yoruba tribe is a big group with smaller groups within the main tribe with slightly different perspectives. So what we plan to do is to then go around the different towns, show the movie, then have a town hall meeting and have people relate to the characters in the scene, have people try to answer their political questions that will be set up in the drama. We then hope that that will stimulate some vibrant discussion, particularly revolving around the cultural issues. The other aspect we plan to do is also to then get the audio drama and broadcast it over the local FM station so that we could also capture the audiences within the urban settings. There are a list of things we think we'll have to deal with when we come to the town hall meetings. The first is the fact that there's a lot of superstition in the cultural setting. People think the fact that there are evil people who could cause diseases at will, and they could easily make contact with people by using body fluids. And you can't really do newborn screening without taking some blood spots from the baby. So we think that that is going to be a major issue that will arise. How we're going to, we'll have to deal with that issue. It's going to be the elephant in the room. The issue of stigmatization is something else that we will have to handle. African settings are usually communal settings. People live together in groups and they don't stay by themselves. And when we come in and we say a child has hemoglobin SS disease, for example, the family will probably feel stigmatized. They will feel other people will not want to marry from them. They will not want to relate with them. So stigmatization is another issue that will certainly come up. Our people also think that what your status in life, what you're able to achieve in life is based on destiny. It's predetermined before you're born. And so the question that we'll probably think will arise is the fact that if things are going to happen, what is the benefit of trying to find out early enough since it's going to happen eventually? So that issue is something else we'll have to find a careful way of tackling without really trying to upend what you're thinking. And there are also some other things that will come into play. There are non-disease specific beliefs. People think, for example, in my culture that there's a phenomenon that is called abiku, in the sense that where children die in their infancy, and the cause of death is actually immaterial. It could be malaria, it could be TB, but those category of children are bound to die before they achieve their full potential. So if you come back and tell people that, oh, we could screen for this disease and maybe take preventive measures and the child may not die, those are things we will think, they will go bring that into play, and we think we'll need to handle that. Something else that we think will also come up, not cultural in essence, but it's going to be very topical, is the fact that there is limitation to what Western medicine could offer currently in my country. So we think that is going to also influence the way people are going to discuss this topic. So they come in and say the child has congenital deafness, for example, and they ask you, so what could be done? And then we say, well, we're going to have a medical personnel at all the town hall meetings to provide medical perspective. And so it's okay. We could offer the child a cochlear implant, for example. And then they say, like, how much? Say, like, $500,000 US. That is way unaffordable. So the question is then, so why bother to know if you're not going to be able to offer any treatment? That may sound ethical, but those are things we think are issues we would need to provide answers to. And actually hoping I will get some very good suggestions from this room before we're done. So essentially, that is what we plan to do. My team, I have two main people working with me. Yinka Dania is a community physician. She's going to help us out with the community engagement bit. And Reisen is the producer for our dramas. He's been doing a number of work in this regard, and together we hope we can get something meaningful out of it. Thank you for listening.